That's right, you are now listening to Tommy Tom's One Mic. Warning, this podcast contains explicit language, triggering or sensitive topics, and controversial discussions. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tommy Tom's One Mic.
I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Flip personality, you know it's I. You never seen my kind, never seen a fucking sliver or a slice. I'm the butcher, choice cuts, know I'm nice. You got beef? I got waggle with a knife. Now I'm gonna be wrapping up bodies up at night. Like Ray Charles, y'all know I'm out of sight. Now I'm gonna be slaying niggas, cause you know I love the life. Yo, you gotta read between the lines. I'm only gonna be moving when I'm read through all the signs. Johnny Mnemonic, I got an upgraded mind. This is for the rebels and their revolutionary minds. Cybernetic linguistics, you know I'm on my mind. Prototype the new dimension, man, that shit is mine. Future is creation and creation is sublime. Make your own legend, only happens with time.
Let's hit the mic.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tommy Tom and One Mic. And today we're keeping with the family tradition. You guys probably just heard my Father's Day interview with my dad. And now you get to, I guess, hear from his better half, my mother, Cecilia Prange. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Tom. How are you, Munchie?
I'm good. I think to start, thing probably most people knew you from town was being a piano teacher. You pretty much taught most of the kids from Chase Elementary piano at some point.
All your friends. I think the only one I didn't teach was Keenan.
Yeah. How'd you get into playing piano, I guess? I know the story, but other people may not.
Okay, well, it all started when you went into kindergarten. And I went to one of the parents meeting, the Pt.2, I guess the PTA, and I volunteered my music services for whatever they needed. And so nobody really called me until December. Miss Tad, the music teacher, called me and asked me if I could play the piano to accompany the for the Christmas singing, and I said sure. So when that was all done, Roy's mom and what was it? I forget the name of the other lady. They kind of cornered me in the at the entrance there of the school, the old entrance. And they said, well, we want you to teach our kids piano. And I said, well, I never taught piano before. She says, well, if you know how to play, you know how to teach. We want you to teach our kids. So I said, oh, okay. So they said, well, when can you start? I said, well, next week. And how much? $6 half an hour? Well, that was like when you were about 5 years old. Now, Liz Burson had tried to get me into it, but I kind of avoided the subject because it kind of intimidated me teaching. But she was the first one to mention it. She just wasn't aggressive enough to tell me she wanted her kids learning right away. And then Pops had also said that maybe I should do that. But again, it kind of intimidated me. But when I was cornered in the school, Pops was with me. And when he saw what was going on, he just left me there and went to the car and waited for me in the car. So when I was done being cornered and committed to teaching piano, I came out in the car and I asked Pops, well, why did you leave me there? They were not taking over an answer. He says, so what happened? I said, I think I just became a piano teacher. And that was in December, January of, when did you start kindergarten? 1994, 95?
94, 3?
Yes, January of 1994. That's when I started teaching. And I started teaching Jennifer and then Roy, and they came in with the Green Book. And I almost passed out when they came through the door because I was really nervous. But I figured out I actually learned how to teach piano in English because I learned in Spanish, and there is a difference, not just in the language, but in how the notes are addressed. Instead of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, they are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And A is not exactly do, it's A. So so it's just all different, but you know how they say that when you teach, you learn? Well, that's very true. I learned a lot of things just by being a piano teacher. So I'm grateful to the ladies that cornered me, the Pam and the other lady. So if they hear this recording, I hope they don't feel offended that I don't remember what their last name is. So that's how I became a teacher. Mm-hmm. There was a time when I had 42 students. You know, word of mouth got around, and I had 42 students, and there was a recital where 32 of them performed. One of the recitals, they had a few. So I have to say the recitals were a time when I had a lot of support, not just from the parents, schlepping the kids back and forth to piano lessons, but also Pops helping me, and you were a big support too, even though also, you know, you were one of my students too, but you were also very respectful when my students came to the house to have their piano lessons. Last time that I wasn't with you, but you were very respectful of that. And I just taking this time to appreciate that if I didn't before. Also, when there were recitals, times were a little crazy, and you were there to help with what needed to be done. And I did appreciate that a lot. So, but that was not something that I did on my own. It was with the support of many people that I had a blessing to do that. And I will always be grateful to everybody who was there supporting me on that venture.
Was it the hall or whatever that you used to have the recitals at?
It was in the senior center. The first recital that we had, it was in my house, and it was only 6 piano students. It was Ryan is the oldest one, right? Yeah. Of the Risingers. Yeah, it was Ryan, it was Jennifer, and her brother, I think, also, and I think one of the Bursons too, and Hackett, the oldest one.
Kristen,
yes. But then we had people coming out of the door and the windows and all that. I didn't think that a lot of people were going to show up, but they did. And so after that, we asked the senior citizens if we could borrow their senior center to host the recital, so we could have more people come and participate and, you know, see their kids playing the first time, not wanting to what I call bother anybody. I didn't ask anybody to be in charge of the refreshments. So we provided cookies and all that. But when it came to coffee, being an expert on coffee, I had the dark coffee, but I didn't have the milk or the sugar. So after that, I assigned a volunteer person to take charge of the refreshment table, which seemed to be part of the favor incentive for students to participate. The cookies and the refreshment.
After.
It's a great memory in my life. One of the big memories that I have.
And you did say you learned in Spanish. I guess for those that don't know, you are originally from Colombia.
Yep.
I guess you want to talk a little about growing up in Colombia. I know music was a big thing in the family.
Well, my dad played the violin. He was member of two different orchestras different times. And there was also a time when we moved to a different city because he was a violin teacher for those years that we lived in that city. And in one of the conservatories, music conservatories, there in that place where we lived in Ibagué, in the department, state of Tolima. And so, yes, in my family, music was a big deal. And we started taking piano lessons when we were young kids. We all took piano lessons. My mom used to take piano lessons too. But then with three kids trying to see when we had time to practice, she decided to step back because she didn't have a chance to practice. And then she didn't want to be a bad example of not having her lesson ready, so that she wouldn't give us a chance to say, well, your lesson wasn't that good.
Give any chance of back talk.
That's right. No, my father was very strict about that. So my older brother, he learned how to play the violin, and he learned how to play the guitar, classic guitar, with my uncle. These were all like organized lessons and everything, very structured. And my sister Judith and I took piano lessons, very structured piano lessons too. And my sister Sarah, when my father left home, she was only 5 years old. So she was under that blanket of very structured lessons. She took some violin lessons, but she didn't stay with it. I don't know what the reasons were, but I think it was like mostly lack of time and probably resources too, because my father left, and so our income resources were a little stressed out. And so I think that was part of that. But mainly, she probably just didn't want to do it anymore. So yeah, growing up, music was very a big deal for us. Growing up in Colombia and then comparing to life here in the United States was very different because in South America, it's a lot, in my time of growing up, it was a lot harder to get things that sometimes are taken for granted here that you get. Well, of course, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't even have a color TV. I remember the first time I saw color TV, I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. It was like we went upstairs to a neighbor's house. They were having a party, and as part of the youth thing was having a color TV, and everybody was just like standing there watching the TV and in color. So, and one of the things also comparing Spanish with being here, there was a show I used to like a lot growing up, and it was the Fantasy Island. And I like Ricardo Montalban. I like, the way he looked and his voice and everything. And but when you watch the show in Spanish, it was dubbed into Spanish, so we could understand it. But no Ricardo Montalban, because he knew English and Spanish, so there was no need to dub his parts, his lines. But when I came to the United States and I watched TV I watched that show for the first time, and I was just like folding laundry while I was listening to the show. And all of a sudden, when the little guy talked, I forgot what his name is, the helper, he was a little person. And I turned around, he said something, and I like, what? Well, but then I heard his real voice. It was kind of shocking a little bit. That was the only thing that shocked me about it, was to see the difference in voice. I was learning English too. I didn't know English as well. One of the things that I like doing was watching TV, because you hear the language constantly and get used to it. But the shows that I like, that I used to watch in Colombia, they sounded very different when I watched them here. So that was something different. Well, it was also growing up in Colombia. I didn't need to have a car because we lived in the city. So coming to the United States, where I came, you needed a car. So now I did a lot of walking, which was a lot healthier than being in a car all the time. So I was 23 years old when I came to the United States, and I only weighed 90 pounds because I did a lot of walking. Don't ask me how much I weigh now, but my scale is going in the right direction though. But I was really thin, but I was very athletic, and I ran and all that. That was kind of a blessing. But then when I got here, it was a blessing learning how to drive too. So it's just different things, different places. I miss things from Colombia, but I love my life here. I miss, I think, some of the partying that went on. I love dancing. So on Fridays, I was always going somewhere. And sometimes I still feel like on Fridays, I should go somewhere. And I do. I just come home and crash, going somewhere. Just not the same as when I was 17 or 20. There's a lot of things that I miss and some that I don't. My dad was very strict. So there were things that were really hard because of that, because we were not allowed to go. After my dad left, yeah, we went to a lot of places, but up until I was 17, my dad was very controlling, and we were not allowed to go many places or forget about having boyfriend, because if we did, then my dad would be interviewing the boyfriend to see how much he made, what was his intentions, when we were getting married and all that. So it was just easier to avoid the whole thing and not have a boyfriend that he knew about. Mm-hmm. So it is nice here being able to go out and not feeling that you have to be afraid that something is going to get stolen, like your earrings or your glasses or something. In Bogota, sometimes, unfortunately, I don't know if that's the case or not. I haven't lived there, gone to visit, but I haven't lived there in a long time to know what it is like now. But when I was growing up there, it was kind of scary going out someplace, because sometimes they will steal your wallet, or I saw sometime somebody stole somebody's glasses because they looked gold, gold frame, and so the guy lost his glasses, couldn't see much. But I did like the environment of parties. I don't know if I would be up for that now, but I still like the music. And I think that's why I like the Zumba dance that I do now, the white for exercise. I get to dance now and do exercises at the same time, and also in the water. So I get the music now pretty much every day now, at least 1 hour or two. Is very different because there's no drinks. Yeah. And not that I will take it now, but it's the difference now. It's exercise now, no partying. So.
Were you a member of the church by the time you came to the United States?
No, I heard about it and I tried before, but I wasn't independent enough. So I still depended on my mom financially, and there was not a chapel near our house. So we had the missionary sisters come and teach us. But I think that there was a couple of things that went on. One was the financial resource, not being able to have money for the bus to go to the chapel. And at the time, I guess I didn't understand the tithing very well, because I felt that if we were members, we were supposed to pay tithing. But I didn't get at the time that you don't have to pay tithing if you're not making money. Also, when the sisters started teaching us about the spirit world and our beliefs about that, my sister Sarah, she was only like 5 years old, and she had a dream about it. I don't think it was a bad dream because she didn't seem scared or anything. But my mom decided that it wasn't something that she wanted us to do. Again, since I wasn't independent, I didn't join the church while I was down there. But when I came to the United States, as soon as I came to the United States, I started taking the lessons again, and I joined the church.
And then you and Pops met at was it singles thing at churches? I know you guys both had relationships at the time or something.
Well, Pops and I met at a single activity in West Point. So we could go, they would organize activities there at West Point, and Pops and I met on a winter weekend. But he was dating someone, and I wasn't dating anybody at the time when I met him. And, or was I? Maybe I was, but maybe I had just started to. Just the guy I was dating wasn't really much into it. So sometimes he went to activities and sometimes he didn't. I think he was just in the church because he just wanted to belong to a group, but he wasn't much into the doctrine. Then the girlfriend that Pop had is a very active fan of the Osmonds, and she wanted to move to live where they did. So Pops was going to ask her to marry him, but I think she had a feeling about it, and she broke up with him. Then at the same time, I broke up with my boyfriend at the time, or I went back with him, I don't know. And I almost got married to someone else, but then I broke it off like a month before we were supposed to get married. And Pops and I were already friends because we used to do carpooling to the church activities. So we were just friends. We used to hang out. We used to have nice rides in the car because we would be carpooling, and oftentimes I was the last one he would drop off because of the geographic, how the members in the car would be like dropped off.
Yeah.
So that he didn't have to go back and forth. And so we had nice conversations. And after I broke up with my fiance, we started going out, and like 3 months down the road, we got engaged, and 3 months down the road, we got married. So we didn't date for very long, altogether maybe 6 months, but we were friends for about a year before that. And I have a cute story about that. When I met Pops, Auntie always waited for me whenever I went to a party. She would wait up for me when I would come home at about 11:30 or 12. And so that particular time when I met Pops, Auntie said, "So did you meet somebody?" I said, "Yeah, I kind of did meet someone. He's going out with somebody though." So she said, "So what's his name?" I said, "Jay." So what does he look like? Well, I didn't realize that she was drawing a picture of what I was describing. So she did draw the pictures. So she showed me the picture, and it was a caricature. It looked silly, it looked funny. Mm-hmm. She said to me, "Well, you know something? You're going to marry this guy." I said, "No, he's dating somebody. Besides, I'm not sure that I really want to marry him. He's dating anybody anyway." So, well, that's after that, I went back to, I had breaking up with my boyfriend, and then I went back, and then he became a fiance. and then things didn't work out, and so I broke up. So Auntie said, so what are you gonna do? I said, oh no, I'm gonna get married soon. So she says, what do you mean? You're not thinking about marrying your fiance that you just broke up with, are you? And I said, no, him. So I said, but I'm going to get married soon. Well, after I said that, it was only 6 months and I married Pops. But she had predicted, though, like a year before, that I was going to marry Pops. So later on, I told Pops about it like a few years after we were married. I remember about the picture that Auntie drew. And so he says, I want to see that picture. But when I asked Auntie about it, just so happened she had been doing some spring cleaning and she drew it out. And so I was like, oh no. But it just all worked out. Things are supposed to, work out the way they're supposed to work out. They're meant to work out. That was when in August will be 30 years ago, 38 years ago.
That's how long you guys have been married, right? 38 years?
Yeah, in August 5th will be 38.
And still together.
I'm still, oh, you remember that, eh?
Yeah.
In living color.
Yeah.
I still have the DVDs that you gave me.
That was like one of our traditions was to watch certain TV shows together, usually on like Channel 11 or something.
Well, I remember I used to watch with you. We used to watch Ben Matlack. We used to watch. Remember that guy that he had to put a suit on so that he could move, and then they kind of like cut the seasons off, and they didn't do it anymore.
Mantis.
Yes. I was trying to remember the other day what the name of that show, and I could not. Yeah. And then I remember from In Living Color, part of our favorite skit was Fire Marshal Bill.
Yeah, Fire Marshal Bill and Homie the Clown.
Yes, definitely Homie the Clown. And also the one that you were just saying,
the married couple with
yes, and we're still together. Yes,
David Allen Greer.
Yes. Yeah, he's
where
funny.
They would pretty much just beat the crap out of each other, and then like talk about how long they've been married together, and then they just always end it with "and still together."
They will be trapped in an apartment.
Yeah.
And then I remember the show, they were Greer, they are like in jail or something like that. And Alan Greer used to keep saying like he was so obsessed with the breasts. And then Wyatt, Damon was his name or something. He would come up with these fancy words that meant nothing, but they were all like messed up.
Damon, I think, was our favorite one on there. Like we like Jim Carrey, but like Damon Wayans always had like the best.
The homeless, yes, the home.
Oh, the homeless guy with pickle jar, but it was always supposed to be his crash.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, I was talking to someone in school, and it was the gym teacher, one of the coaches. She is awesome, and so I said something that was about the, In Living Color, and she turned around right away and said, I know that show. So yes, yeah, my son and I used to watch it all the time. So what else did we watch? Those are like our favorite ones.
Those are with like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Family Matters.
Yes. Yes. Well, you also told me about Modern Family.
Yeah,
and I love Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond.
You figured out everybody. I didn't like Everybody Loves Raymond. It was the mom annoyed me. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yes.
The mom annoyed me because it was always that one thing of like she always had to be right about everything, and that just annoyed me. Maybe I took it a little personal. I don't know.
Was I like that?
It was usually when you and me would like butt heads at times. if I would talk in slang or something, you would try and correct my English like that. And it's like the Colombians trying to teach me how to speak English right now.
No, you know what it is? I do that with Pops sometimes because I think he likes to get a rise out of me. What happens is that when you come from another country and you work so hard to speak the language the right way, and then you come here, and to begin with, the dialect is different. Like when I was in Colombia, you wanted to say daughter, your daughter, you say daughter, your daughter, and then you get here, and I heard people say like your daughter. It didn't sound to me like what I learned, and it sounded more like people were saying the name Dora, Dora. Then I said, gee, people's name here is Dora. Mm-hmm. I decided that as always growing up, I always had a dictionary. I said, I need an English dictionary. So even now, even though with technology the way it is, you have a dictionary in the phone and all that, I have one, but I gotta have a dictionary so that I can look up words and know what they are, because I learned that when you look it up, you retain it more when you know how to spell it and you look at the word than if you just hear it. So,
well, I think we've reached a good halfway point. We'll come back. We'll talk some more. Maybe we'll discuss your Spanish soap operas and you being up all hours of the night and never going to sleep. We'll discuss some of that. But we'll be right back after this. And we're back. Hey guys, hope you've been enjoying my conversation with my mom, Cecilia Prange. And we've gone through some of her music coming from Colombia, meeting my dad and everything. And coming to America, you talked about like the TVs, the color TVs, and like, I guess the language, obviously. What was like, I guess one of the other big, I guess, culture shocks for you coming to America?
I don't think that there was any other really culture shock other than the ones that, the difference between growing up here and being here. I think another one thing that it was fun to learn was how money works, because I grew up with pesos, and then you come here and there's dollars. When I came here, I forget how many pesos a dollar was, but instead of saying that, say for example, a gallon of milk was 500 pesos, for example, it was $2. Oh my goodness, this is cheap. This is cheap. And so Maria and Auntie kept telling me, Annie, remember, you make dollars, just spend dollars here. But it takes you a while to get used to that. You're always shocked. They're like, oh my goodness, how cheap it is here. It really is not, but you learn that as you go. Learn some culture shocks going from the United States to like Pakistan, and then came back here. How grateful I was to be able to come back here. We went there in 1986, chance to go to Pakistan with Pops and observe some of those cultural differences. When it comes to some things like eating, like utensils and all that, but it's a little bit different, things like that you learn as you go. I came to work for a family in Tuxedo Park, and they were very, kind of fancy. They had a lot of money and stuff, and that's where I spent my first 3 years. And I learned a lot of stuff, etiquette that was of the United States there when I worked with them. So that was something that helped out. Also, culture-wise, I think that one thing that shocked me was that in Colombia, if you said they were stupid, really harsh. Like, whoa, you don't say that word at all. I came here and kids just say they were stupid, like drinking water. It always shocked me at first, like, whoa. So that was different. I wasn't allowed to say that. I still don't like using the word stupid. I do use it more than I did in Colombia, but I'm still very careful how I use it. I don't really direct it to someone. Maybe the situation may be stupid, but I don't call anybody stupid. Some things just stay with you. Doesn't matter how long you're here.
And what about the food? Of course, we know that's the real reason why you married Pops. It's because he can cook and all that. And we know what happens when you cook. Now, was it spaghetti or rice that burnt down the Ant House kitchen?
Oh, well, relating to food, there's a couple of things. When I met Pops, he came to visit me where I worked in Tuxedo Park. He wanted to see the house because he had never been there. And so I decided that spaghetti was an easy meal to make. Pop's commitment was to bring the French bread. So he came and he said he wanted to see the house. So, well, by the time we were done looking at the house and going back to the kitchen, the spaghetti was burned in the bottom. And I freaked out. I said, oh, no, first time this guy comes to eat, and I burned the spaghetti down. But he took the spaghetti out of the pot, and he didn't scrape the bottom of it. He just put the rest of it in a different pot, and he saved the day. So right away I said, yeah, he's a keeper. Now, what happened in the Ant House, though, that was a different thing. We had already applied for adoption, and we were kind of in the end of the time, waiting time. And we didn't know for sure how much longer we were going to be waiting, but it felt like it was at the end of the waiting period. And Pop's mom had stayed with us over the winter because she had been diagnosed with cancer, and I was taking care of her. But then when the spring came time along, she went home one Saturday, and then the next Friday, I was cooking in the kitchen, and I had a pan of oil, but the telephone in the kitchen wasn't working. And at the time, I was trying to see if I could get jobs cleaning houses. So somebody called, and I decided to go to the bedroom and answer the phone. Well, silly me, I didn't realize that oil burned that, had that fast. And to make matters worse, above the stove with the cabinets where we kept the stuff, flour and stuff, I also had a bottle of oil up there. So when the flames went up, it went through the cabinet, and of course the oil bottle came on and just made a really bad fire. And I'm in the bedroom, and I looked over to see what was going on in the kitchen because I had the crush on top of the stove, and I saw the flames, and I told the lady I had to call her another time because I had a fire in the kitchen. So I didn't get that job, to say the least. The one I was on the phone for. And then I called, I think I called the fire department. Then the guy that was working in the park, because that's when we were in the Ant House, all right, came over to see what was going on. He fortunately had refused to go to the St. Patrick's Day party that they were holding for the employees of the park. So he was able to let the fire trucks in really fast, because if you remember, they used to close the gates at 5 of the park, and then that would have meant the house would have gone down to the ground. But the one thing that got burned was the kitchen. Pretty much, it was just the kitchen. I was freaking out because I thought that if the flames would go through the wall, it would have burned Pop's computer, and Pop's computer was kind of new. And that was my worst fear, to have Pop's computer burn. I wasn't so worried about anything else. Pop's computer. So Pops was at work, and 8 days prior to that, he had been written up for something that was unfair. It was a procedure there at work that Pops had a better way to do it, but of course they didn't. I guess they didn't want to give Papa the credit for it or something. I don't know. And he got written up for that and sent home early. So the next Friday was the day of the fire. So they were trying to tell Pops that he needed to go home because fire. And so Pops thought he was being fired because the person that was telling him this, he had a very thick Italian accent. And Pops said, but wait a minute, I'm not doing anything wrong. The guy kept saying, like, fire, you fire, home, fire, you're going home. Then he just going home, but he thought he was getting fired that day. And he got home, and I was downstairs in the office. The officer that came to investigate, they sent an officer to investigate what the matter was and how the fire started and stuff. And I was there in the office, and I was talking to the officer and explaining to him what happened. And Pops came through the door and said, "Oh, honey, I understand you've been cooking again." And the officer looked at him and me and like trying to figure out if Papa was upset or like saying to himself, like, "Oh, this is not the first time." That's the story of my cooking. But I know how to cook, but I'm not crazy about cooking. That's Pop's department.
That's
well, you know that.
Yeah, I know that.
You learn how to cook because of Pops.
Oh yeah, I asked Pops, so I'll ask you too. One or the other, fried corn or empanadas?
Oh man, that's a hard choice. I love your empanadas, but I love fried corn too. See, well, you're not here to make the empanadas. So right now, all I get is fried corn in Thanksgiving. We haven't made empanadas since you.
No, really.
So every time Thanksgiving comes, I always think about you because of empanada. And in Facebook, there's a picture that always comes up around Thanksgiving because I took a picture of you making empanadas. And you know how Facebook always reminds you of your memories?
Yeah.
Always. I said, oh, this is my baby making empanadas.
Well, I played this game with Pops. I guess that's a good segue of this or that. Pretty much the same thing as like with the fried corn and whatnot. Just some things. For you, you're a little easier. Pops was a little tougher to do these, but I don't
know. You got me with the empanadas and fried corn there. That's a hard one.
No, just of the actual questions to ask them. You're a little easier. So we'll go with this from our TV viewing days. Seinfeld or Friends?
Seinfeld.
Mozart or Beethoven?
Mozart.
Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
Cookies or brownies?
Brownies. You know that.
Yeah. Teaching piano or being a teacher aide?
Oh, man, that's hard.
Because I figured that one because those have been like pretty much your two jobs. Your life.
Oh.
So either working at a daycare or something. And then music was always something that I was always kind of attached or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I love being in special ed because I'm with kids and teaching also, but I always have to say teaching piano.
I don't know if you remember, but I guess Disney World or Universal Studios?
Disney World. Although the other one was fun too, but I'm more of a kid.
Connects or Legos?
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Legos.
York Peppermint Patty or Milky Way Midnight, the dark chocolate one?
Milky Way.
And not
so
in
that's
those.
A hard question too. I like them both.
These ones you don't have to choose for these questions. Place you'd like to visit that you haven't been to yet?
Oh man, I don't know. I have to consider everything that goes along with being going to that place. But I guess it will have to be Spain, because that's where we come from. It will be Spain, I think. Auntie went to Spain. She said she liked it. Also, because I don't have to worry about the language. So,
If you won $1 million, what would be the first thing you buy?
I will buy a truck, a newer truck. That's what I will buy.
Back to the this or that. I can't believe I forgot this one. Cats or dogs?
I used to be cats, but 10 years ago, I was converted to dog because of Toby. No, actually, before that, when
Piggy,
yes, dogs. I like dogs more than cats now, because dogs are more they are more loving. They are more, they're loyal. Cats is like, leave me alone.
Cat comes to you when it wants to. The dog is just always coming towards
you. Yeah. Well, Toby's gonna be 10 years old at the end of June. June 30th.
Old man. I know you. Does he walk your student to the piano or anything?
Yeah. Every time my student comes on Saturdays, he comes in. He goes out to say hi, to greet him, and then he comes in and he walks the student to the piano. Yeah. And then Pops calls him and he goes upstairs to his office. Pops closes the door so that Toby won't come down. Although we have a gate at the end of the staircase to keep him from going upstairs when we are not home. But Pops keeps him in his office so that Toby doesn't start wanting to go to the student and start like howling.
And for the last question, if you could go back in time and tell me or give me one thing of advice, what would it have been?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. If I could go back in time and give you advice, what would that be? Just be the best that you can be, because that's what we are all trying to be, Be the best that you can be, that you can look at yourself in the mirror and be happy with yourself. No, whatever that is, meaning you feel happy with who you are. And that means, like people around you, not that you need to please everybody, but that, well, you always have people gravitating towards you. So that's something that has always been like that I always saw when we were, together. People always like being around you. So you are a good person. You are a good man.
Well, thank you. Emma, we had our talks. Definitely growing up, there are times you and me definitely butted heads, to say the least.
I don't think it was that many times, were they?
There are a few. We definitely we definitely butted heads. Definitely with how I live my life, try to live my life and stuff like that. But I think as we both gotten older and all that, I think it's just improved our relationship. Like I view our relationship now probably stronger than it ever was, really. So I'm appreciative of that. And I am appreciative of both you and Pops for everything you guys have done for me and everything. So I wanted you to know that. And thank you today for doing this interview. I hope you had some fun.
Well, thank you. I loved it. I really did love it, because it kind of brought me back to times when that we used to share together, and is thrilled that you remember them to be like I remember them, and, like TV shows and all that. And I feel that in every relation there is different eras, as when you were a kid, our responsibility was to teach you and take care of yourself and try to be the best parents that we could. And that's not always an easy thing in the sense that sometimes we don't know what that is. And then the hardest part is to know that you gotta back off, and allow that being, um, in this case, you to make your own choices. Some of that choices are different to what we would want them to be, but it's your learning process. And it's also a learning process for us because it teaches us to respect you and your choices, and to be happy in your happiness. And it's a learning process. It's never an ending. It's never ending. You may be over there and we may be down here, but in our hearts, there's no distance. I think that's like when we go over there and I try to get all the hugs that I can, it's because I have missed you so much. I think also it teaches us to, or it has taught me to trust you and to trust that you're doing the best for you. And at the same time, it has taught me to also take care of myself in the sense that I want to take care of my health. I want to do things to keep my mind active, to learn more. But that all has a lot to do with a process that is never ending. I'm always talking to my students in the school about you. They always want to know about you. I show them pictures of you. I tell them little stories here and there when I have a chance about you and me. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you will always be my baby. I will always want your happiness. And I pray, every day. And this is for real. I pray every day that you will be safe. And with all these things going on, that the crazy things in the world, and pandemic and everything, every day one of the first people I think about is you, and one of the last people I think of before I go to bed is you. And you'll always be my son, no matter what. And the day that they put you in my arms, that the adoption and the adoption was final and all that. But the first day they put you in my arms and they said, this is the baby that will be with you. That was one of the happiest days. And I will never forget that day. And all of the things that we did together, I always remember most of them. One of the hardest part is also knowing that the mistakes that I made while we raised you are regrets that as we try to forgive ourselves for them, is the hardest thing to do. I remember times when I fell short of what I should do as a mom, and I didn't do it. Like maybe getting on a bike and going down on remember that day? I remember that day when we used to go on Sundays to ride bikes and buy soda and goodies. And then we used to do that every Sunday. And then when I started working every day, there was a Sunday, you were ready to go in a bike and all that. And I said, no, today because I'm tired. You were disappointed, even though I didn't look at your face. But I remember that day, and I will never forget that day, because I feel that's a day when I should have got my butt out of bed and go ride with you. And sometimes when when things happen or when things go wrong, you go back to, well, maybe that day I would have been, things would have turned out different. I don't know. We used to have like this communication. We would talk about every Sunday that we went out, and you used to talk to me, and we used to share things. And I don't know, after that day, but I remember it with regret, because I should have gotten out of bed and go with you with the bike. Another day that I remember where I wasn't there because I was someplace else trying to help somebody because I had been asked to go somewhere. Somebody called me and asked me, can you please be here? I need you. I need your advice. I need to help so-and-so maybe to change a decision that this person is going to make. So it was a Saturday night, and I spent the night there, but you didn't know because I think you were already sleeping when I left home. The next day, you got up and you got ready to go to church. I didn't have to ask you to get up. I never really had to ever, but you got up, you got yourself ready for church, and you came downstairs, and Pops told you that I wasn't home. So you got yourself ready to go to church. It was your initiative to do that. It was a grown-up thing that you did, and I was very proud of you for that. I'm not proud of you, everything that you do pretty much. But as memories get in your mind, and as things happen, memories just stay with you. I don't know, they are significant, they are awesome. And, as a parent, you are always hoping that there's always going to be memories on the making. So you may be 33 and I may be 64, but I'm still want to make more memories. And this interview is one of them.
Well,
so, I love you,
man.
Manchu.
Love you too. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this nice little conversation with me and my mom. Once again, if you guys are listening to this podcast, great. Hit that like or subscribe or whatever. Show the support. And if you'd like to follow me or contact me, you can do so at TommyTomP88 on Instagram and the TommyTom88 on Twitter. Ma, thank you once again for doing this interview. And we'll catch you all next time.
I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Flip personality, you know it's I. You never see my kind, never seen a sliver or a slice. I'm the butcher, choice cuts, know I'm nice. You got beef? I got waggle with a knife. Now I'm gonna be wrapping up bodies up at night. Like Ray Charles, y'all know I'm out of sight. Now I'm gonna be slaying niggas, cause you know I love the life. Yo, you gotta read between the lines. I'm only gonna be moving when I'm read through all the signs. Johnny Mnemonic, I got an upgraded mind. This is for the rebels and their revolutionary minds. Cybernetic linguistics, you know I'm on my mind. Prototype the new dimension, man, that shit is mine. Future is creation and creation is sublime. Make your own legend, only happens with time.